die, we don't eat to eat.
Man, give me food. Feed me, please.
Well, days just become a past love. Time's moving fast. Will leave us wondering how it's all gone by. What should I have done? My life couldn't have been more fun, Lord. I surely found life in your eyes. Embrace it, the old and the wild.
Well, hello friends and family. I hope that everybody has been well. We finally arrived down here to Homestead, Florida, and have some absolutely beautiful weather here. And I really enjoyed our trip, but it was a very quick-paced trip, and we were very busy the entire time. So we were not able to provide very many updates from the road. Hopefully Nook got some good pictures and posted them to Facebook, but I was driving the whole time, and so I wasn't able to take really any videos. So I thought I'd make a video now to kind of summarize the trip that we had down here, and in lieu of video, maybe supplement it with some photographs from myself and from Nook to show you kind of the trip we had. Just to update our family and friends, and also maybe to review a little bit the campsites that we stayed at, in case anyone else is going to do a trip like this across America. Maybe give you some good info about where to stay or where to avoid. We did it in our van, of course, and so we had a place to stay at night. So we were looking, we stayed mostly at like campsites, RV type campsites, and other little small kind of family campsites, because they're pretty cheap. Averaged about $30 a night to stay in those places, and generally they had like electricity and water hookups that we didn't really need. The water was nice to do dishes and stuff outside of the van, but we didn't really use the electricity. But the other nice thing is they had showers, so that was a big plus, to be able to shower along the way. And so in total we drove, it took us 9 days, and we did, or 8 days I should say, sorry, and we did 2,826 miles, or about 4,400 kilometers. And so because of my eyes, we weren't driving too much. The longest days we did were the first 2 days, as we tried to rush over to Illinois to see my mom while she was there. And so we were doing about 7 to 8 hours a day during those days of driving time, not including all the gas and bathroom breaks and all that kind of stuff. So that was pretty rough few days, and my eyes after that were really burning. I have GVHD of the eyes, but I've also been battling since my second COVID dose. My GVHD has flared in both eyes, and also I've been, because of the steroid drops, also dealing with reoccurring eye infections. So I had to deal with a lot of that along the way, a lot of eye pain, especially at night when I take out my contact lenses. It was really hard to sleep and stuff like that. So after the first few days, we dropped down to only driving about 4 or 5 hours a day, and that really improved my eyes, much easier on them. And the first night we stayed in northeast Omaha, KOA. KOA is like a chain of campsites that's around the U.S. And we got in pretty late at night and left pretty much right after waking up. So we didn't really get to see the place, but they had like a swimming pool and stuff. So it was a nice little campground, but it's in Lincoln, Nebraska. So there's not much to do around there. It's pretty much just corn. And so not too much of an exciting place, but the KOA was about $40, and they had nice showers and swimming pool and all that kind of stuff. That's what you're into. We just kind of came in at midnight and woke up and packed up and got out of there. And the second night we ended up in Illinois, so we stayed at my cousin Caitlin's house, and that was wonderful to get a proper bed and proper shower and everything there, and proper meal, eating some vegetables from her garden. So we got to spend time with my grandparents and my mom during the day, and then we went and stayed at my Aunt Kathy's house, which was also wonderful to be with family and again get to sleep in a proper bed and enjoy some time with their wonderful family, and just meet everybody and hang out before we got back on the road. And so the following day we left from Chicago and headed down to Lake Sarah campground. Last night we headed out in the early afternoon and made it down to southern Illinois at a place called Lake Sarah, which is a beautiful spot here. And we had the entire campground to ourselves, nobody else here. So that was really wonderful. The lake's really big and really nice. And today I think we're gonna get out of here and head on down to Nashville, Tennessee. Maybe check out some music and stuff. So yeah, the van's been running good. It's quite comfortable. It's very loaded up with stuff, so we're a bit unorganized at the moment and it's difficult to find anything, but sleeping wise and driving wise, everything, the van is perfect. Really comfortable for us, and I've been sleeping like a rock, like 9-10 hours a night. So I think we're gonna try to take it more easy, maybe drive 3 or 4 hours a day, maybe 5 hours, but not really push it, not do the 12-hour days that we have been doing so far. And just try to take it easy the rest of the trip till we get to Florida and check out the southern half of the U.S. that I've never really explored before. And so the next day we headed, we put in Nashville. We wanted to check out Nashville, but it took us longer than we expected to get from southern Illinois over to Nashville. And so by the time we got there, it was about 8 o'clock at night, and we just kind of wanted to get to our campsite that was right outside of Nashville there. And about 20 miles outside of Nashville. So we didn't actually really get to visit Nashville, which is a bit unfortunate because it's just a beautiful area and a beautiful city as we drove by. So we're definitely going to head back there one day. But that campsite was our absolute favorite along the way. That was called 7 Points Campground, and I can't recommend it enough. It was absolutely gorgeous, again on a very big lake that was so peaceful and quiet, no boats on the lake. The campground was quiet, well shaded, clean, easy to access, great bathrooms, the best water pressure and a shower I've ever seen. It would be pretty wasteful in Colorado, but I guess there in Tennessee they have the resources, they got tons of lakes and everything. So the showers were wonderful, and we love that campground, and we'll definitely be going back there one day and staying for a week or something, because it's just absolutely beautiful area there in Tennessee. And a really nice, well-managed campground with very friendly staff. The owner came and talked to us a few times, and he was a wonderful, friendly guy. And overall, we really loved Tennessee. We drove through Tennessee from that campground. We went up into the Smoky Mountains to a friend of my stepmom, Natalie, who lived there. They have about 400 acres of just uncleared land. It's just all natural forest. I mean, even their house has got the forest coming right up to the deck. They haven't cleared any of the land. And so it's just gorgeous there. We got to really see the rural Tennessee driving through the Smoky Mountains to their house. I think parts of Tennessee that most people wouldn't ever see. And we got there, we spent the night in the forest there. Again, there's no clearings or anything. It was a little bit hot, didn't have any wind. But we were up on a ridge, and it's absolutely beautiful, amazing trees. They said that they had more species of trees on their land than are in all of Europe. Haven't confirmed that, but I would believe it because there was just so much diversity of trees and plants and everything. Lots of wildlife. It's just absolutely gorgeous. And so we got to ride around. They had some like Kawasaki all-terrain vehicles. We got to ride through the forest at high speeds and drive those around the mountain on a single track road. Really, really cool, a lot of fun, and I wish we got video of that, but I think I was driving, and I think Nook was holding on for dear life the whole time, so there was no room to film. no time to film. And then we had a wonderful breakfast with Bob, the owner of the land there. He cooked us up a really wonderful country breakfast, and we really enjoyed hanging out with him and listening to his stories and listening to, you know, all the information about the area and the history of Tennessee and everything he knew about all the dams that were constructed there and everything. So that was really wonderful, and just really good to kind of ground ourselves for a moment and not be rushing around, and just kind of see how people there live a nice slow-paced life. They work hard, but you know, I don't think they don't make any money, but they don't spend any money, and they just have a really simple and kind of clean, pure life there. We love Tennessee, and we'll definitely be back there. It's such a beautiful country. The people are wonderful. The climate is really nice. It's not too hot, not too cold. They do get a little bit of snow in the winter, but then it melts right away. So that's kind of on my living in the U.S. kind of the top state I'd like to move to at the moment is Tennessee. There, it's just the whole drive through the state was just absolutely beautiful. Smoky Mountains are so lush and green, so much diversity, big rivers, just beautiful the whole way. So after that, we headed south and headed down through the Smoky Mountains into North Carolina, and we stopped for lunch in a little town called Asheville, North Carolina, and that was a really cool town. It reminded me of Boulder, you know, maybe a while back. Just kind of little hippie town with little eccentric shops and groovy little pizza places playing Grateful Dead music and having live music. And everywhere you look, there's all the bands I like. People with, you know, Widespread Panic and Sound Tribe, Sector 9 and Grateful Dead and Fish and all this kind of stuff, clothing and tie-dye. They were doing like a little, at the pizza place we stopped at, they were doing in the backyard a tie-dye workshop with the children. So it's just really a pretty far out town that I'd like to go back and check out. And everyone says they have a lot of good live music there, and so that was a really cool place that we'll definitely go back to again. From there we headed down south into South Carolina. And South Carolina, I don't know, we probably didn't see the best of it, but we didn't really see much, you know, that was to talk about really. We stayed at a campground called the Woodsmoke Family Campground in southeastern South Carolina, and that was the worst campground we stayed at. It was about $39, so it was more pricey than most of the other ones, including the 7 Points, the one we loved. And it was just crappy. The bathrooms were awful and dirty. The shower was terrible and disgusting. We were supposed to have water and electricity at our site, and the water wasn't working, so we couldn't do any dishes or anything. You know, we had to resort to our van to brush our teeth and wash our faces and all that, which works, but you know, it's nice to have. If you're going to pay $39, it'd be nice to have a hookup. And yeah, I wouldn't recommend that place at all. It was expensive. It wasn't very nice. They advertise that they have a big pond and stuff, but it's just a little man-made pond that isn't that great. So yeah, I would give that one a miss, and I think we need to explore some different areas of South Carolina, because I've heard it's beautiful, and then I've seen some wonderful pictures and stuff there, but we kind of missed all the good stuff, I think, there. So after that, we headed south down through Georgia, which was absolutely beautiful as well. We stopped and had some nice seafood lunch, and then headed to our campsite, which was in Jacksonville, Florida. And that campsite is another KOA, and it was on St. Augustine Island, and it was a pretty nice spot. It was pretty hot there because it was kind of like a campground placed in the middle of a city. So you were driving through the city, and there's shops all around, like 7-Elevens and Walgreens and all that. And then you make a turn and you're in the campsite. And the campsite was really nice, lots of trees and you know, beautiful, really great showers, bathrooms, laundry. So we got to finally do some laundry. So you know, for a campground, for I think people with RVs, it's pretty nice. For tent camping, it wasn't the best, but you know, the bathrooms and everything made up for it, and the showers and laundry And so again, nice people the whole trip. And so that KOA, I'd say it's worth staying if you're in the area there. But kind of we kind of compare everything to that 7 Point campsite in Nashville, and really nothing comes up to the par of what that one was like. So from there we had another 5-hour drive down here to Homestead, and that's where we've arrived now. And it's kind of like a communal living area. Yeah, they got you can see they've got some fruit trees and gardening going on, and some of the people we have talked to have been here like 2 or 3 months, and from like other parts of the country like Alaska and stuff, and staying here and working to pay for their stay and their food. And they have like big communal dinners and everything. So we'll probably try that out tonight. They've also got a nice swimming pool and stuff. It's definitely a beautiful little area. It's great to be out of the city. We've driven into Miami a few times to go and look at Ben's school and to start to look for apartments. And wow, it's a big city, all right. I was kind of thinking, coming from Denver, that it would just be a little bit bigger than Denver, but it's a whole another level. It makes our interstate, we have in Denver, our 4-lane highways, they look like country roads compared to Miami here. So it's very busy. Everybody drives like complete assholes, I'd say. It's like the Daytona 500 on the freeway. People are just changing lanes constantly, cutting everyone off. You don't use your turn signal, because if you indicate where you're going to go into a gap or something, someone moves right in there and steals it and then gives you the finger. So it was pretty hectic driving with the van and the trailer and everything on those roads. And so once we got to Homestead here, where it's a bit quiet and we're in a more rural area, it was a big breath of fresh air for us all. So we're going to spend the next few days here, and we're going to enjoy our time here and try to find an apartment in hopefully a quiet part of Miami. The apartments we've looked at so far, we haven't found any places that we would consider actually living at yet. So we got some more hunting to do. And also, unfortunately, you may have heard 2 months ago or so in the news that one apartment building here collapsed, and about 98 people died in that collapse. And it also displaced another, I think something about 300 families. And since then they have condemned 2 other buildings, one just yesterday. And so evacuated everybody out of those buildings. So there's a little bit of a housing shortage right now, with several hundred families being kicked out of their homes and currently looking for a place to stay. So we kind of came at a really bad time to try to find an apartment. There's a lot of competition out there for apartments right now. So we're struggling to find a place, but we'll get there. So thank you to everyone who supported us on this journey, and been there with us on the preparations and helping us to move out of Colorado and make this big leap to a new place. To everyone who's been following along, and we really appreciate you, and hope you continue to follow along with our story as it continues to develop. So thank you all again.
On my time to live.